Kill 10 men.
Insane. Courageous, but insane.
Hello and welcome to Brand X Reviews. Today we're going to be doing a review of the Expendables Blu-ray, the extended version. Now, we did do a review of the film when it came out in cinemas back in August, I think it was. So I've pretty much talked about the film itself, but here I'm just going to very quickly just talk about what you get with the Blu-ray and what the advantage is. Now, as was the case with, well, the first one in particular, the first film when that came out in 2010 was released on DVD. It was just the theatrical version, but if you wanted the uncut version, you had to get it on Blu-ray only, which is kind of a bit of a con, to be honest. And I think you got a few extra features that weren't on the DVD too, but I say it was a con. I mean, Blu-ray is just a high capacity disc, so if something's an extended version, you can kind of say, well, they couldn't do it on DVD because there wasn't enough room on the disc. Well, literally the first film, there is about 3 seconds difference. It's just when he stabs somebody in the throat, he twists the knife, therefore it was an 18 certificate, not a 15 certificate. So that is a con. Now, on the other hand, they did release an extended version of the film on Blu-ray in, I think it was June 2012, so just before the second film came out theatrically. I know it had been out in America for a while before that, but in the UK we didn't get this until June 2012. So that's the extended director's cut. And I did talk about this in my Rambo Blu-ray, my Rambo retrospective back in, last year. So I won't go into that too much as to what the differences are. Plus, I'm talking about Expendables 3, so I'm not going to go too far with that. Expendables 2, there's only one version as far as I'm aware that you can get. Blu-ray DVD doesn't make a difference. Third film, anyway, that's what I'm reviewing here. So this is the extended edition not seen in cinemas, and there is about 5 minutes worth of difference. I did actually compare, because sometimes the information you'll get online and even the information you get on the cover itself can be misleading and just sometimes completely inaccurate. Even things like the length of the film, it can say one thing on the box, but you actually check the film and it's very different. But in this case, the theatrical version, which you also get on the Blu-ray, is 2 hours 6 minutes. The extended version is 2 hours and 11 minutes. So you've got 5 minutes worth of difference there. The differences do tend to be the action and stuff like that. That's the difference, because in America in particular, this was a PG-13, I believe, and in the UK, from memory, I think it was a 12A. So this version is a 15. Now, the DVD of this, I think you can only get the theatrical version on DVD, so again, it's kind of a con. There's a lot of extras on this as well, but what I'll do first, I'll get into what the differences are specifically, because, as I say, it's mostly to do with action and stuff like that, and I've got a list of things. I'll just kind of reel it off. Now, one of the contributors at Brand X Reviews, has never appeared in any of the videos, but he's a contributor, Buffnut. He sent me a list that someone else had written on a forum that he found, and I found it fairly accurate because I read it before I watched the film, and I did notice. So this is the list of different bits that they have. So when they free Doc, there is an extra scene of Christmas shooting a guard hiding behind the door. Doc says a few more quotes during the Pirates mission. If I recall, one was, "Happy New Year, mother," which, yeah, he does. When the new team is travelling to Bucharest, there is an added scene on the plane of Lunar, Mars and Thorn. It's the scene from the trailer where Rousey is shown loading her gun. Added few lines of Smiley talking to Barney about Stonebanks. Added scene of Barney and Galgo on the plane. The scene where Galgo says, "Insane, courageous, but insane." That was in the trailer, but wasn't in the theatrical version. I did actually notice that when I went to see the film in the cinemas. I thought that bit was missing. Well, they've reincorporated that here. There's an added scene of Galgo talking about the Expendables tattoo when the team is travelling to the woods. Added scene of Galgo talking to Christmas when they get separated in the block. More added fight scenes. A lot more of Christmas and Doc. A few added scenes with Gunnar killing the guy in the tank and saying his mother drove a tank in Sweden. Galgo and Luna have some alternate fight scenes where Galgo shoots them down one-handed, the rifle jams and he throws it at someone. Extended scene of Barney stabbing a soldier while cornered. Stonebanks calls Barney a mother before he kills him. Barney says, "I am the Hague," before killing Stonebanks. Contrast to after in the theatrical. I did actually notice that as well. In the theatrical version, what that means is the Mel Gibson character says something about what about the Hague, and then Stallone shoots Mel Gibson and then says, "I am the Hague." Well, in the extended version, he says, "I am the Hague," before he shoots him. And then it's just kind of slightly extended, because in the theatrical version it just suddenly cuts away. So it's like, wait, we just kill the bad guy, right, on to the next scene. It's kind of rushed in that. I'm not really sure if Yang pistol whips the soldier, as some have said. He does shoot him in the chest, then grapples his head towards the wall, so it gives the appearance. The scene of him and Trench clearing the roof is a little more, but it is just them turning corners and shooting whatever soldiers they see. They show Arnold's face in the plane when they were going to Bucharest. And finally, there is a solo scene of Christmas running through a hallway and lobbing grenade after grenade, with dudes being blown away in some impressive stunt work. So good, in fact. An extra on the Blu-ray is that scene, unedited and extended on its own. And that is the case. This was the American Blu-ray, and it's pretty much the same as what I spotted in this as well. As I said, there is that scene with, it's on here, it's called Christmas Runs the Gauntlet, Christmas being the Statham character. It's just an extended scene, a lot of it is in the actual thing, but you get to see it all as one kind of take. I think they just kind of trimmed it and chopped it up in the film just for pacing reasons. But yeah, it's pretty good stunt work, and it's Statham that's doing pretty much all of it, as far as I can see. Now there's a few other documentaries and stuff. I tend to find a bit boring sometimes. There's the Expendables 3 documentary, which is about 50 minutes long. It does include the near-death experience that Statham literally had on set. There's a truck, and I think they were just kind of rehearsing something, but they were filming it at the same time, and his truck, the brakes just didn't work, and it just ploughed off the edge of this pier into some water. And a lot of people thought, shit, Statham has just died, but he kind of got out and went, right, let's get changed and then go on to the next scene or whatever. So he's well hard, he's Statham. But yeah, Stallone was like watching the whole thing, and he's like, "Hey, I was filming the whole thing." It's a pretty funny thing to see, actually. But it's on that documentary. You can see it on YouTube anyway, I'm sure. I saw it ages ago on Facebook before this Blu-ray came out. That's about 50 minutes long, the documentary. There's one called New Blood, Stacked and Jacked featurette. That's, I don't know, about 15 minutes, something like that. And that's about the new characters, the younger characters. And there's another one called the Total Action Package featurette, which I think is about 6 minutes, something like that. It's just about their stunts and stuff like that. And there's a gag reel as well, which is about 5 minutes, just as you would normally expect from a gag reel. That's pretty much it. Now, the quality of this, with it being Blu-ray, is very good. So if you've got a decent sized TV, then you'll spot the differences, the quality differences that you would normally have on Blu-ray. I did think the quality of the second film on Blu-ray was pretty bad. Not that it was bad, but I think it was just the way the film was made. It was very kind of grainy, and that kind of took away some of the sharpness of the picture. That's just my thoughts anyway. That was just the second film, but that's not the case with the third one anyway. Now, the film didn't do very well, kind of getting off the actual Blu-ray review specifically. The film itself, the film didn't do brilliantly at the box office, and a lot of people have said it was due to the fact that there was a pirate copy that got out before the film even got released. Well, I'm sure that hurt it a lot, but I don't think that really was the reason. I think that a lot of cinema goers are kind of fed up of this franchise, maybe. I mean, I'm not, but I think a lot of people are. It was based on a novelty when it started. That first film wasn't a brilliant action film. It was watchable. Couldn't really say bad about it. It wasn't awesome. It was awesome that you had all these guys together on screen. So they then repeated it with the second film, and they've repeated it with this one. Granted, they've thrown new guys in the mix, which is great. But I think the novelty's kind of wearing off. And I think Stallone knows this, because he has said that he's doing a fourth film, even though the third one didn't do brilliantly financially. But I think he's going to have less people in the fourth film, and it's going to focus more on the people. So whether or not that works or not, it could go either way. But as I said, these films are good, but they are more based on the nostalgia factor. I mean, I've seen better action films this year than Expendables 3. Films like Fury, for example, the one with Brad Pitt set in World War II, that was a brilliant action film. And that's more the kind of action film we have nowadays. We don't really get a lot of these kind of revenge mission action films like we had in the 80s and 90s. I think particularly since 9/11, I think cinema goers wanted something different because, you know, they'd seen scenes that we get in these kind of films on TV for real. And I think the kind of action genre kind of moved on from that. So action films nowadays tend to be kind of films with like Denzel Washington and, you know, those kind of things, and Matt Damon, and, you know, that's kind of where it's going. So I think the old days of, you know, like throwing grenades and stuff exploding all over the place, it's not a dead genre, but I think nowadays things tend to be a lot slicker and more kind of story based and more thrillers rather than just action and, you know, kind of thing. But it still has its place if they do them good. Keep them coming, I guess. So I mean, I'll be there when the fourth one comes out. So Expendables, that is. So I'm quite happy with it. But we'll see anyway. We'll see where it goes. And I don't really know much about the fourth one. They haven't really sort of said who would be in it. I mean, there's still quite a few action stars that they could bring into it that they haven't had yet. I don't think Steven Seagal would be in it. I think his personality is kind of back. I don't know. I kind of like Steven Seagal, but at the same time, I know he's very kind of difficult to work with. That's what I've heard. So I don't see him being in this. There's a lot of other guys like Dwayne Johnson, but again, I'm not quite sure because he's a strong enough presence to kind of do his own films. He doesn't need to be in a film like this, an ensemble thing. Plus, he's doing the Fast and Furious, so we kind of get to see him in an ensemble kind of thing already with Jason Statham in the upcoming one next year. But it'd be good to see him in this. I think nowadays the only real action stars that we have that are still doing like top quality films on their own, carrying their own film, are literally just the two guys I can think of, Jason Statham and Dwayne Johnson. There's a lot of the good actors that are quite good at action, like, quite, you know, physically can pull it off, like Tom Hardy or whatever, but he's not an action star. He does a lot of other kinds of films as well, whereas Statham and Dwayne Johnson tend to be your action film stars, reminiscent of the 80s and 90s. So I can't really see who they would now bring into the next film that is contemporary without going back. So somebody like Kurt Russell. In fact, he's going to be in the next Fast and Furious as well. But Kurt Russell would be a good one to bring into this franchise in the fourth film if he wanted to do it. I know he turned down the first film. That's what I heard, that his agent said Kurt Russell doesn't want to be part of an ensemble cast. Well, I think, you know, he hasn't really done a lot of great films recently, so probably was a mistake on his part. But anyway, I'll leave it there anyway. I kind of rambled a bit. I can't really think of much else to say. So that's my review of the Blu-ray. And if you check back brandxreviews.com, if there's any news on this franchise or other films with Stallone and Schwarzenegger, all the guys that are in this film, pretty much big fans of all of them. So if you check back brandxreviews.com, I will be following all of their careers, upcoming releases and stuff like that in the near future. So that's the website, and we will see you next time. Thank you very much for watching.